Pastor, youth pastor, church communications person, are you struggling to figure out digital ministry? Well, here's the deal. I created this video so that you can stop Googling church social media tips. And in fact, I created this video so that you don't have to hire me or anybody else. I'm going to show you and give you what it takes to be able to create a thriving online and digital hybrid presence. But here's the thing, I've been doing this podcast for over 2 years now, and in my over 2-year journey of this podcast in hybrid ministry, I am helping churches do online well, but I'm also helping churches maintain their in-person presence and find that intersection, which is always the goal, is we're trying to create church so that it matches and mirrors people where they are, and that intersection is what I like to call hybrid, right there in the middle. And so we're going to dive into some of the frequently asked questions here on the Hybrid Ministry Show as we round out 2024 and set our sights to 2025. Welcome to the Hybrid Ministry Show. If you and I haven't had a chance to meet yet, my name is Nick Clayson, and while I've been doing this podcast for 2.5 years, I've been doing ministry for 14 years. And my journey all along the way has led me towards this hybrid sort of ministry. But in this episode, we are going to tackle some of the frequently asked questions that I've gotten from people all across the internet, different groups I've been in, cohorts I've run, workshops I've led, asking questions like, what is hybrid ministry? Why is it even important? What is your content schedule? What's your capturing schedule? How do you edit the videos? What would you consult me to do if I was just getting started? And we are going to walk through all of those things. And as always, if you're here on YouTube, don't forget there are chapters down below at the bottom of the screen so that you can jump around to the question that means the most to you. Welcome to the Hybrid Ministry Show. Question number 1, we alluded to it in the intro, but what is hybrid ministry? My favorite analogy, and this is actually some of the stuff that we're exploring over on my brand new Patreon page, and some of these questions actually came from some of our brand new Patreon members. Shout out to Jesse Johnson. Love having you over here. But some of these questions are like, what is hybrid ministry? Okay, and so some of the questions are like, why, what's the purpose of this? What even is it? So it's important. Let's get a baseline. Okay, again, chapters at the bottom. If you already know this, jump ahead. But hybrid ministry is intersecting your in-person and your digital, right? We all know in COVID, we had digital church only, and we know that we hated it, struggled with it, didn't know how to engage students well, and we missed the in-person. And so when restrictions were lifted, we all came back to in-person, and we missed it. We missed community. We missed friendship. We missed praying with one another. We missed sharing meals together. But we did a lot of good ministry over here too, digitally, right? And so we kind of got these two buckets here. You got online only, and you got in-person only. Let's examine what each of those are good for. In my opinion, online is a fantastic content delivery system. So emails, information, announcements, but also content, sermons, podcasts, long-form teaching courses, things like that. What is in-person good for? That online struggles with real authentic community. Like you can have a version of community because of in-person friendships through like a means like texting or even like chats and stuff like that. But I mean, real in-person community, like we all kind of hunger for it, long for it. And, you know, some people like are in the metaverse and that's satisfying that sort of itch, or they're friends with people from a distance. But in a lot of ways, like real community, life on life, sharing meals together, carrying one another's burdens, prayer requests, honestly, everything in like a shepherding sort of like small group space. But if we look at a typical Sunday morning sermon, most of it is what we can accomplish with online, and thus in lies the inherent tension, because everything we can do on a Sunday morning can be easily replicatable, and frankly, it's even a little bit more attractive, especially to people like Gen Z, millennials, even Gen Alpha, to consume content, sermons, and church services online. But what younger generations are craving, and the church has to figure out how to offer it in a way that either takes the place of Sunday morning or as an attractive alternative to what's going on Sunday morning, is that real, deep, authentic, life-on-life, biblical community. And that intersection of where you're online which you should have online. So if you're a mostly in-person church, hybrid ministry for you is adding in online so that you can have a more robust experience of your church. If you're an online-only church, which are very few and far between, you should figure out how to add some more in-person type elements so that we can intersect between the two. Online, in-person, intersects at that hybrid ministry spot. I liken it to Home Depot, okay? So I can go buy something on Home Depot's website, completely online experience, or I can go browse the aisles, completely in-person experience. But that hybrid moment happens when I pull out my phone and I look on the app and it tells me exactly where I can find that bolt, exactly what aisle, and exactly what bay. I'm in person, but I'm experiencing it through the app digitally, and thus it creates that sort of hybrid moment. So if you're not, again, already over with us on Patreon, I would love to invite you, because that's what we're doing. We're answering how I take my in-person services and I'm sprinkling in hybrid, and I'm just literally walking you through what I'm doing on a week-by-week basis. Question number 2, why? Like, why all this digital content? Why social media? Why YouTube? Why? Well, link down below is my 100% free hybrid ministry strategy guide. I have been offering this now for over a year, and it's gone through a couple of rebrands, but the majority of what I've created in that has remained the same, because social media around the pandemic time has actually shifted the way that it's been done, right? We were previously in what was known as the social graph era, and now we're in what's called the discovery era. Okay, so here's just a couple of things that are really important to know. 95% of teenagers say that they have been, will be, or plan to be on YouTube. Now, obviously, some of those are power users and others of those are just dabbling in it and looking up videos and stuff for their science fair projects. But the fact of the matter is 95% of teenagers are on YouTube. Furthermore, according to a recent book by McCrindle and Fell, it's called Meeting Gen Alpha. They say that Google, #1 search engine in the world, is now being supplanted by Generation Alpha with, you guessed it, YouTube. Also, here's the beautiful thing about YouTube. And I gotta tell you, like I said, I've been creating content for this podcast for over 2 years, and I will still sometimes get comments. I'll get referrals. I'll get people clicking links to videos that I've made even over a year ago, right? We don't have that luxury oftentimes in churches. We create something for the moment, and then that thing dies on our hard drive and we continue on. YouTube is masterful at promoting and allowing content to live on forever. Content creation, marketing specialists, they call it evergreen content. If you want to know the type of content that teenagers, Gen Alpha, Gen Z, young people in your church are searching, you can use a keyword tool like VidIQ. In fact, I have a link down below if you want to give it a shot and a trial on using it. And you can do some research and be like, what are teenagers asking? And then you go answer those questions. I'm just going to be honest with you. Like you should start there always as you're planning a sermon series, right? Get some keyword research. What are people looking up online? What are the big questions to life that they're asking? And then have that, and then develop your sermon series. And by the way, if you develop your sermon series based off that keyword research, it's also going to make a fantastic YouTube video and fantastic YouTube playlists. All right, question number 3. What is your content schedule, and what is your capturing of that content schedule? So according to a website, VidIQ, 90% of the internet's traffic today and moving on is short form, discovery based vertical video, TikTok style, Reel style, YouTube short style videos. In fact, I have a playlist linked right here on the content that I am creating, not only for my students, but with my students. It's my easy and effective social media playlist. It is the 4 different social media types that not only do I have students capturing, but also that I have students editing and helping create that final piece form of content. And so my schedule is I post 2 2 times a day, 5 days a week. So 10 different pieces of content. Let me walk through it with you. So in my playlist, linked back up here that I said just a second ago, my easy and effective playlist, we do 4 different game style videos. So we do drafts, we do 7 questions, we do man on the street, and we do transition and invite style videos. Go to that playlist to check out the full detailed in-depth thing along with some free templates and downloads. And then an additional piece that we do is a stay or scroll devotional style video. So that's 5 different videos, one of each of those that I post every single week, okay? And I just kind of sprinkle them throughout. The pieces of my content calendar that are a little bit like stronger, again, short form vertical based video, is 3 teaching clips. And those teaching clips come as clips off of our long form teaching content. Now, I'm a youth pastor. We don't have live streaming capabilities, nor do we capture our videos live in our auditorium or in our worship space. And so we actually sit down, direct to camera, and pre-film our messages made for YouTube with that VidIQ research indicator. And we make those videos, hopefully answering teenagers' questions, creating evergreen content, and also playlists and sermon series that kids are asking for and that they can go back to in the future when they're struggling with or have big questions about life, faith, God, whatever the case might be. And so that piece of content, we drop a different video every single week. It lines up just when we preach a sermon, right? So if you're preaching a sermon this Wednesday night, you're preaching a sermon this Sunday night, put that on video, post that to YouTube. But off that YouTube video, 3 short form clips. I use Opus AI. There's a link down below if you want to try out Opus Clip. It's a fantastic AI sermon shorts generator. I use it every single week in my student ministry. So that's 5 different pieces of easy and effective content off that playlist, 3 different pieces of social content using Opus to clip them up. And then I got 2 more other pieces of content. One is our Meme Monday style video, or not video, I'm sorry, Meme Monday style post. That's just about the only non-video post that I do. Not that I'm against non-video posts, but don't forget, I'm a busy youth pastor. And so I got this strategy sort of locked in. And so I don't have a lot of time to go back to the drawing board. And I got students and volunteers helping kind of keep it afloat. And so we'll reiterate and re-ideate when we need to. But for right now, this has been working for us. And then that 10th final piece of content is anytime we meet, I get my phone out, I create little like 5 to 8 second clips, vertical video. I take it into something like a TikTok. I click that auto cut button and boom, I then have a recap video for anytime we meet. Sunday morning, Wednesday night. I typically do Wednesday night. Now, like I said, my capturing is during the week. Me and anyone else on our team that's going to be preaching, we sit down, we pre-film all of our series. Like if we do like a 4-part series, we film all 4 of those in one day, one shot off teleprompter, all the things. Link down below is my studio guide. It has all the links to all the gear that we use. If you want to use a teleprompter or if you want to use, get a tripod, different lighting, all that type of stuff, check that out. So that's when we do those. And then on Wednesday nights, when our youth ministry is going on, before and after, we have a social challenge that's happening every single Wednesday night. Students know about it. They seek it out. They want to know when and where is the social challenge happening. So 2 of those videos, drafts and 7 questions, those take place inside behind a locked door, not locked door, but a closed door of our studio to help with soundproofing and all those things, run by volunteers and very few leaders. And then our other 2 videos are transition videos and man on the street style videos. And so that's us being out and around in our building, in our space. So it's a little bit more visible, and it also helps students sort of be gravitated towards and drawn to what we're doing here on social media. And then as far as editing goes, Opus AI takes care of my editing for my message clips. I do the auto cut one on Wednesday nights. I do that like right before I start my car and get in to go home. And then the last one, I have students come in early, like early on Wednesday night. They're homeschool students, which are 2 of them, fantastic. And around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock or so, student ministry doesn't start till about 6. And so they're in there for 2 or 3 hours editing videos. And, you know, like we gave them, you know, some of them like free retreats or special incentives, or we let them stay after and like eat at the leader lunch, you know, eat the leader lunch that we have or whatever. But mostly they're just doing it because they like it, they have fun doing it, and it's a good time. All right, next question. How do you edit videos? Well, I just told you, like, I got students that are helping me carry that load. I use some AI, but like the actual platform that I use is, my preference is Adobe Premiere Pro. It is the most expensive of all the options. Final Cut Pro is another option. You can check that out if you're interested, or DaVinci Resolve, both of which are cheaper than Adobe Premiere Pro, primarily because Adobe Premiere Pro has a monthly subscription cost associated with it. However, it's what I learned. Churches have paid for it for me for now. And I mean, I wish I could do something new, something cheaper, but I don't have the bandwidth to learn something cheaper. But there are cheaper options out there. You can, of course, use something like iMovie or Movie Maker on your Windows. And CapCut actually has a fantastic editing platform. You can do quite a bit with it, and you're going to look pretty professional. You can do it obviously off of your phone, but you can also do it off of like just a web editor. And I believe that their like premium or pro feature fee is not too difficult to figure out, and or not too expensive, not too high barrier to entry. So if that's something you're interested, go ahead and check out CapCut. All right, last question I have here from those of you. Thank you so much for submitting them via our Patreon community and members. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Again, if you're interested, check that out down below. Link in the show notes. Question is, if you were consulting me, what order would you start with doing something? Starting from nothing. We have all the in-person, nothing digital. Well, here's what I would do. First of all, make sure your website's up to date. Second of all, then I would start creating this short form vertical videos, and I would start with 3 per week, right? So some sort of recap video. If you can't do a clip of your message, just do a selfie style, talking head, recap style video of it, right? If you do have like the long form footage of it, drop it into Opus Clip and try, get a clip spit out. Second video I would do is I would do some sort of educationally based promoting spiritual practice sort of video. Okay. What I mean by that is like you can have a video off your camera roll, literally any video. One time I filmed a video of a turtle walking across the street in my neighborhood. It can be that simple. You can do text on screen. 3 things the Bible says about prayer. 1, 2, 3. Write that all in. You can do that in any editor. You can use it in the YouTube Shorts editor, the TikTok editor, the Reels editor. You can bring it into something like CapCut and create it, export it, and post it, all those different places. But I would start creating those different types of content. And the last one is I would do some sort of fun thing, some sort of social challenge-esque thing, drafts, 7 questions. And if those are too heavy on the edit side, which they are a little bit heavier on the edit side, they don't have to be, but they can be. Do man on the street, man. Get a microphone, buy a cheap one. Again, I got some links down in my studio episode link down below. Buy some cheap mics and walk around and interview students in your space, right? Like if I was doing this next week, all right, let's pretend you're watching this live end of 2024 and you come back in January. I would walk around with a microphone, you or a student, okay, off of any camera, your camera, their camera, it doesn't matter. Get those 2 little USB microphones, again, link down below, grab those, and then walk around and be like, hey, what's your New Year's resolution this year? And then ask them or give them a microphone. And you can do something even funny with it. Like me and a former resident of mine, Caleb, shout out to Caleb Flywheel Maeda. We put our little mics, clipped them onto like spoons, and then we just held spoons. So you can walk around with spoons if you want to like have some sort of like handle thing to hold, right? But you're like, what's your New Year's resolution? And the other person's holding it and they answer. And either they have one or they don't. Or have you broken your New Year's resolution yet? And you ask them. And if you get like 8 or 10 of those people answering those questions, then you drop those in somewhere either on your phone you can edit, something like CapCut, or bring them in something even more powerful like Adobe Premiere Pro, Final Cut Pro, DaVinci Resolve, whatever your editor of choice is, and edit that down, post it, keep them less than 60 seconds, and you're off to the races. And the eye on the prize, okay, when I'm starting with you, the eye on the prize is to get long form videos up to YouTube. Okay, you don't have to do 2 times a day, 5 days a week like I do. I do want you to be regular, and I do want you to start getting your long form pieces of content to YouTube. And that's where I come in, because I can offer you coaching where I'll teach you how to do it, or my communication's done for you where I'll actually do it for you. You film it, send it to me, I'll edit it. We can talk about price when we get to it. Both of those are linked down below in the description. But here on screen is the definitive social media guide for churches and youth ministries in 2024. 25. I would love for you to check that video out. If you're watching here on YouTube, just go ahead and tap that screen. But for the rest of you, I hope you had a Merry Christmas if you're watching this live, no matter when you're watching it. Thank you to all my Patreon supporters. Appreciate you guys. You should be having some merch sent your way, those of you who signed up before December 2nd. And don't forget, and as always, my friends, to stay hybrid.